Hey everybody, it's Galmadex, and welcome back to the Through the Omenpaths Early Access event, the Magic Arena in-universe version of the Marvel Spider Man set that is happening at pre-releases right now, starting today. So check it out if you are interested. Once again, thank you very much to Wizard Coast for providing me with the promotional early access account, and with that disclaimer out of the way, let's get into another Pick 2 draft of the sets. We have the exact same Pick 1 and 2 that we had last draft, and I'm just going to go with it again. Now, last draft we ended up on a pivot into a green-red deck that was quite powerful, so we get to take these really fun villain-focused cards with some good mayhem synergy as well, some good graveyard recursion, and actually potentially play them this time around. Maybe red-black will be the most open archetype here, and we get to try out the red-black mayhem deck in draft. We'll have to see. These are certainly two of the strongest cards in the pack, and they have some really good synergy together, so a great way to start off the Pick 2 draft. Pick 3 and 4 now. The beginning of your first main phase. Discard a card, draw a card. Whenever you play a land or cast a spell from anywhere other than your hand, deal one to each opponent. So, the beginning of your first main phase, each turn, discard a card, draw a card? That seems real nice. Real nice for a dedicated mayhem deck. I'm going to take that and a mayhem spell to go with it. And then that can also let us cast our Carnage here. This looks like a fun synergistic start to a Rakdos Mayhem deck. Okay, what do we got now? Another Mayhem card here, but I think our next pick is going to go off color because it's a mid-draw spell or a pretty unplayable Howling Mine style ability where each player draws a card, much more for constructed decks where you can build around that a lot more than a draft deck. I mean, none of the off-color cards are honestly that powerful either. The best is probably the flash creature, tap or untap creature at instant speed. And red is not allied to white, or black is not allied to white either. So we probably don't end up pivoting onto white anyway, so I'll just take the on-color mediocre draw spell there. Sure. 3 mana 1/1 flyer plus a 1/1 on the ground. Just decent rate there. And then the 6 mana 4/6 flyer jumps all our villains into the sky as a finisher. Looks okay. The best card here is probably this bounce spell here. Also, the green-blue rare is pretty strong if you can put some +1/+1 counters on it. So if you go for like green-blue-white, splash that thing in. Good build around, but we're pretty far from that direction, and I like the spot that we're at right now. Got a gigantic green-red finisher, Vigilance, Trample, Haste. Sure, I'll speculate on that here. Are we really going to be black-red pivot into green-red twice in a row? That'd be really funny if it's like the exact same draft each time. Okay, pack 2. Great red 6-drop. We had some wonderful success with Shocker last draft. That said, green-red has a lot of ramp towards it. We had a lot of the 2-mana Spider manifestations that tap for red or green, as well as some good treasure token production, so it's certainly worse in black-red than it is in green-red, but I think it's still probably pretty good at the top of our curve. So I'm going to take that, and I'm going to take the villain-based removal spell, 3 mana, destroy a creature, gain 2, if we have a villain on board. Seem like really good picks here, or, again, speculating towards that white with a little cheap Spider-Man. Taking a look at our mana curve between picks, and we really do want some good 2-mana creatures if we can find those. There's Dreadfang again. That is the Craven. That was really nice in our last deck as well. We're once again honestly not that deep into black. We could use this pack to speculate on green with how powerful the green spells are. Taking a Craven, and then again, that's that Wrestler that gives us a treasure. Don't mind that. The black spells are decent now, though, and in terms of the mana curve, they help a lot more than taking a 3 and a 4. We could take 2 solid 2-drop creatures, or we could take a 2-drop and a removal spell, which are solid places to go as well. And this is another Mayhem card. I could actually take double Mayhem here as well, but I don't love taking this Legend super highly, because that's one that you really don't want more than like 2 copies of max, because the Legend rule can get you pretty hard. I'm going to avoid just drafting green-red twice in a row, as this is the early access event. Let's try to show off some other decks. So I'm going to try to stick to black-red here if I can. Take a knife trick. Guess I could splash in a white spell. This is an Oblivion Ring style removal spell. So until it dies, you exile the card, and then when it does, they just get it back in hand. Might be better to take the 2 mana 2/2 than the knife trick there. But yeah, maybe we can play the hot dog cart. Play the white 5-drop. 3 mana 2/3 reach. Whenever it becomes tapped, you may discard a card, draw a card. Seems good in black-red. Seems good in black-red. I could take that and a Mayhem card. Or I could take a 2-drop with a good ability in the grave. And a Mayhem card. Okay, I like the 2-drop for sure. I think I'm going to take more Mayhemers. Pick 5. Nothing much. Just take the random on-color stuff. We wield the Workforce. I like to see that. Oh, 2 on-color cards for the last pick. Okay, we're in a good color pair. We got Morbius's bigger cousin. I don't know the lore about Morbius, but this is not Morbius, but bigger vampire Morbius. Then we got, wow, 3 mana 2/3 Vigilance. Tap it, put a counter on each artifact, creature, and or vehicle. So 3 mana 2/3 Vigilance that keeps putting a counter on itself every turn. And then can remove the counters from itself to draw cards. Okay, that card's just already good by itself. Now, we do have a lot of Mayhem cards, so Crash here, also quite appealing. But hopefully, based on how the packs have been going, we could maybe get that back. We definitely can't get the good colorless card back. And if anybody else is in black, we won't get this huge finisher. So I'm going to take the just double rare there and hope for the best on the wheel. Until your next turn, each creature attacks each combat fable and attacks a player other than you, a fable. Doesn't really work in 1v1. And then you get 3 mana and then you deal 5. That seems quite bad in 1v1. 2 mana cards. Sure, I mean, there's a knife trick, but it's pretty small. Removal, just 3 damage. I am only on 3 removal spells, so it'd be reasonable. But I don't have any of this 3 mana madness creature yet. I mean, I'm taking a 4th right there with the burst. It seems fine. Okay, next pick. Seems great. Yeah, deep enough in red, that should be a good late game threat. And we get the 3 mana card that lets us discard a card, draw a card each turn it taps. Looks great for the deck. That was a great pack for us. Let's cut the splash there and cut the hot dog cart. And lock in on some good red-black synergy. Burst in another discard drawer. Tempting to cut this because of the legend rule. Might end up happening. Grab some filler. And the fact that it's an artifact creature is nice. It might actually do something. With our 3-drop. Yeah, I mean, I'm probably going to play this Spider Bot just because it's an artifact creature here. And we're low on 2-drops, so we could just play all of those. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 non-creature spells. I just cut all creatures here and call it a deck. I don't hate cutting clandestine work, though. Sure, drop that. Drop 6 creatures. One of these for legend rule. Hopefully have enough discard to not have to play this real mediocre looking discard outlet. Villain count? What do we got? 15. Okay. Sure, this will jump the entire board into the sky. 2 cuts to go. Big goofy dino. I think most of the time we're just hard casting all of our Mayhem cards. It's just nice to have a good chunk of them so that when we have the insight here, it can turn into straight up card draw on occasion instead of card filtering and card selection anytime we have a Mayhem card in hand, all of a sudden we're purely drawing a card because we get to cast for the Mayhem cost and still fully draw a card instead of completely losing whatever we discard. So I think Mayhem cards that are just pretty bad up front, like just a 4-mana 4/3 when we're not Mayheming it, could get cut here. And we just run the ones that are like, yeah, we're probably hard casting these most of the time, but they're fine when we hard cast them. And then when I do have them with one of our card draw spells like Insight or Wardens, then they're just great. So we can run the Desecrux here, Ruckdew, and some Deathflame Burst kind of Mayhem cards, and the Goblins. I think those are all reasonable when we're not Mayheming them, whereas these 4-mana 4/3s are really not. So then we get to keep the Dino in here. We'll take another peek at what we're not running here. It would be reasonable to put the card draw spell back in or the Death Toucher back in. But those are really the main options. I'm on 17 creatures. I think I'm fine to go 16, run a card draw spell, and then just never get got by the Legend rule. Although, it's probably one of the best cards at preventing the Legend rule from getting you that badly. Because, like, okay, I have one on board, I draw a second. That's still 2 more 1/1 flyers later in the game. Even if the first one sticks around forever and it's at 2/1s, it's probably not sticking around. Yeah, no, I'm actually just going to keep 2 of these. That seems fine in multiples. Yeah, we'll lock it in. We'll just call it here, hop in the gameplay, and see how this one does for us. All right, here we are on the draw for game number 1. Actually hit the majority of our artifact creatures. So if our Physic here does not die, but encounters on all the artifact creatures could go pretty hard in this hand, which is fun. Our opponent starts with Aunt May. Gain a life every time they play a creature and put a +1/+1 counter on all the spiders, which there are a lot in the set. Like, we're red-black, which are not the main spider colors, and we have 2 spiders in our hand, I believe. Yep. I mean, there are artifact spiders, but still. Alright, they're scouting, and they're going to draw one of these creatures into their hand. They could hit the land as well if they don't have enough mana. Take the Crime Scene Investigator, the +1/+1 counter card there. 2 mana now. I do really need to top deck a land, so I'm going to lead with Spiderbot. And let me check what's in here. Do I need double red or double black more often? Double red at 6 mana. Double black for the X mana spell is the only one. I need the mountain here. I mean, every spell in my hand is red. Let's get the second mountain. This card is going into so many of my artifact commander decks immediately. I love artifacts. It's just another Steel Overseer, just a bigger Steel Overseer now. We could blow up both with Trick plus Burst, but neither of these are cards we want to spend removal particularly highly on. Let's just get this thing out so if they don't have removal for that. Our board starts getting out of hand very quickly with 3 artifact creatures out. They do have the removal for that. It's exile removal as well, so no graveyard recursion we could draw for that. Although our graveyard recursion already only works on villains regardless. Uh-oh. We immediately got hit by the Legend Rule game 1. I was talking about that as a possibility. That's embarrassing. What are the odds? I mean, luckily this thing is tiny, so we could probably play the second next turn. Our opponent is hitting all of their lands. And we are really trying to get to 6 mana. Oof. First Strike Vigilance. That is going to make the 2/1 blocker utterly useless. We are definitely going to have to blow that card up. Okay. Just cast one of the 3-mana removal spells and pass, I believe. They're down to 2 cards in hand here. You could have the +1/+1 counter hexproof trick. That's very main deckable because it's also 2-mana destroy a creature with power 4 or greater. Sure, they've got that. We'll just kill it next turn. Trade a knife trick for that spell. Still a 1-for-1 trade, still reasonable. +1/+1 counter on 2 cards. Big stuff. And that, of course, is out of reach of the deal 4 now. Ah, that referee was brutal. Ooh, it's not out of reach of the deal 4. Let's go. I should give the first strike to the 1/3 here to get them both in. I'll give it to itself. And just don't attack with the 1/3. Okay. Not horrendous. Get rid of that. Drop a 2/2. Just fight a 2/1 is fine. Go to 7. Drop a 5/4 and pass. Six mana is a really key number here for us because we could start putting counters on our workforce, or we could start making 1/1s out of our grave. Uh-oh. Their last card in hand is a relevant instant still? Oh, man. Yeah. Brutal. It's Sensational Spider Man. 2 mana, 3/2 flash flying. They can sack it to get the whole board hexproof indestructible, and because they have Aunt May on the board, it is 3 toughness, exactly enough to get over our reach card here. So that is super good here. We've got the burst for it next turn, but that's going to put us to 3. Dead to 1 hit from the crime scene instructor. Oh wow, this is really terrible because if I kill the instructor on blocks here, they just put the counters onto the flyer, and the deal 4 no longer kills it. So I can't afford to kill the instructor. I have to chump block the instructor here because I can't take this, and I also can't kill that. Good play from our opponent, but horrible way that things are lining up for us. Don't have double black somehow still. Alright, get out of here, Spider Man. And with that draw, if I had killed Instructor, I would just be dead here. because nothing here would do anything about that giant flyer. We didn't hit the 6th land to chump it or anything. So that was the only way we could play that turn out, was chumping Instructor. They're playing off the top now. All we need is to find the 2nd swamp, and we're right back in this game with a gigantic lifelinker. Play a giant lifelinker and then start throwing a bunch of counters on the workforce. Alright, well, they top decked a spell. Oh, man. I mean, I literally can't do anything but chump. That was a real good draw. It's the worst feel too. Because it's one of those cards they have to click on a bunch of cards, then click on ours, so they're sitting there just like highlighting cards and stuff. It's like, oh, maybe they didn't get there. Taking them a while. No, they super got there. And this does nothing now. Alright, 0-1 to start it off. Rough start there. Obviously, it looks incredibly lopsided. They were at 24-1, but I do think we were legitimately a single swamp from being in that game. Even after that great draw, if we hit the swamp here, we're at 5 life with a 5 toughness lifelinker on blocks. They can't attack into that. So then they'd have to hit gas again after that. And then, of course, we'd have 4 1/1 flyers to start playing out of the grave. Yeah, we really could have stabilized maybe off of a swamp there. Should they miss on their next draw step. Did not look it, but a somewhat close game of Magic. Alright, here we are on the play for game number 2. Our curve doesn't start till turn 3. This is maybe awkward enough to mulligan. We have no villains for Tombstone to get graveyard value. This is our only artifact creature. But this by itself is still impressive, right? We're Vigilance attacking in and making it bigger every turn, because we can attack and activate since it has Vigilance. We've got removal for their first threatening card. We have both of our colors, which not every hand is going to have. There's enough going for it that I'm okay with not mulliganing it, but I don't think it would be crazy to do so. Black-white, so not a represented 2-color pair here. There's at least one black-white rare, though. I mean, we have it in our sideboard, the 5-mana 4/4 that exiles a creature on your opponent's... exiles any non-land permanent on the board, actually, as well as a non-land permanent from your grave. And then when it dies, each player gets their card back to their hand. They did have the cheap removal for the rare, as they always do. I wonder if we're going to be able to activate that a single time today. It's the kind of card that generally... you just don't get to do that, which is always sad. This card has got to be one of White's best commons. This has been repeatedly swole, just juicing up the board. Alright, sure. Let's clear it out. Go, workforce, go, workforce, go. This is not the best villain to return with Tombstone, but at least it is a villain. Blow up the workforce so we don't have the mana sink anymore. Make us discard a card. Oh. We really just have to play a 2/2. I guess I can discard a mountain here. Probably worth it. To not play this just as a 2/2 for no value. I don't want to run this out and then they just play a 3/3. I mean, I guess we've just like drawn the wrong cards to where like at this point, even if we do draw like a decent villain, unless we draw it within like 2 turns, then this is still really insignificant. All right, well, let's just have all 6 mana. Oh, it's may discard a card. But the point about this still stands. Well, they did just play a 3/3, so. Oh, I could have still attacked the 2/1. That's a spider. Look at that. A terrifying creature. The spider centaur thing? Yeah, I should have sent into that. Wow, that's a draw. Oh, there's my villain for this. Absolutely putting my saying to the test here. Giving us an incredible villain to recast. Exactly 2 draws after I said, unless we draw a villain within 1 or 2 draws, we should really just play this now. We drew it at exactly 2 draws. It's like right at that cutoff where it may have just been better to hold on to that. Although there's always the chance they just play exile removal like everybody's been doing. Yeah, okay. Exile removal anyway. Oh. What are they doing to Luis here? What are they doing to Luis here? Destroy an attacking or blocking creature? Sure, and then I kill them with the giant flyer. Okay. We get rid of their treasure token here, and then we play the flyer that kills them in 1 shot. Perfect. That is fine. They need another removal spell to not die. That is 6 damage in the sky. Thought it was a 5 power flyer, I was wrong. But it still jumps our other villain into the sky and hits for 6. Oh. Our opponent is on the Mr. Beast style deck. I drafted every removal spell in the draft pod. Good for 5. Two cards in hand. Removal? Oh my god, it's removal, baby. At some point I have to just be impressed. Oh no, it was removal in a 3/3. Okay. Well, here's our... This is our first removal spell of the game? No, they exiled cards out of grave. This is our third. It's kind of a lot. But... feels kind of unimpressive looking over there. Played 6 over there. This is going to win us the game. Discard a card, draw a card every turn. Top deck war just automatically goes in our favor now. That is a lot of duplicates of the same legend. That could really get them. Did not really this game. Man, we're on the Mr. Beast deck. I drafted all the removal in the whole draft pod. In this video, I'm going to show you every removal spell in the entire set. I don't know why, that's just what I think of. The flood has arrived! Thank you, Quint's Insight. Very cool. Why isn't it Quintorius's Insight? Quint's Insight? Something weird about that. Game 3, here we go on the play. We don't start till turn 3, but we have both of our colors. We got a removal spell, we got a 3-drop, we got a finisher. I am not mulliganing good mana. LSV has arrived. Win us the game in the end game. Play that after everybody else. Okay. Blow up the Menacer and poke for 2. A 1/5 that doesn't do anything until incredibly late in the game. Let's just pressure them with some hard to block stuff. 2 in the sky, 5 with Menace on the ground. Might just send out Luis next turn if they just tap out for removal here. That is probably completely fine, honestly. I guess I don't like the double block particularly. Is it crazy to just blow up the 1/5 here instead? That feels instinctually wrong, but I kind of want to do it. Because they have to discard to that, so without good mayhem, that'll be really bad for them. We don't see red from them yet. Okay, they do have a black mayhem spell. Definitely no blocks. Just the board wipe. Trickster. A non-legendary. They're going to discard 2 a turn now. They must have a whole bunch of mayhem in their hand. Wow. Black, black, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 6 damage off the ping. Block. Let's see, double block. Yeah, that's lethal. Pre-combat for the ping with word force attack all, and they can't survive this attack. That is game. We are 1-1? 1-1 or 2-1? I already forgot. I think we're 1-1. I think we had a really long game 1. That was a loss in the end. Oh no, we won a game off of Rummaging. Yeah, we're 2-1. Nice. Nice. It's been a long day. Technically, this is only like my 3rd event, but spent a lot of time editing the first video. All right, here we are for game 4. We're 2-1, so perfectly average 50-50 record at worst. And if we win, we're at a positive win rate on this draft. Once again, not a super exciting hand, but we have both colors. That is almost the only barrier to entry. I am guaranteeing that I'm not doing anything for a long time if I put a land on top, but I'm also guaranteeing that I get to play Shocker, so here we go. Aww, I want that. I want to play that. The card is so good. We're probably just going to get handled by that thing. They just mayhem a card out each turn. They're casting everything for reduced mana costs, full on drawing a card at no cost. Okay, they didn't get to mayhem yet, so they must have like 3 mana mayhem abilities, or a bad hand with no mayhem in it. 2-1, sure. Okay, it's not a terrible draw. Alright, they like the 1-for-1 trade because they have a good graveyard ability for later anyway. Yep. Here they go. Just a full-on draw card, no discard required since they mayhemed, and they get a cost reduction on the mayhemed card. Do it for 2 instead of 3. We get the treasure for Shocker, though, if they play a blocker. They don't play a blocker. I don't really want to play this till I get to shoot something. Yeah, this is another threat that is strong enough that they'll need to spend removal on it. So still perfectly worth playing here. They have the removal. Instant speed, too. Particularly rough. I think this Insight is just going to win them the game. This is twice now it's fully drawn a card with no discard cost, because the discard got to cast it instead of put it in the grave. Those are both 3 toughness? No! Supposed to be able to shock. Well, here's a flyer then. I mean, it is flavorful. Shocker shocks the creature and shocks the face. Man, did I wish he lightning bolted right now. Draw an extra card off the Razorkin. Kitten's ability is holding for them right now because they can sack it to discard 1, draw 1. I feel like turn 2 Insight seems like nigh unbeatable in the Rakdos deck. We did not get to run it out turn 2 any game, so we didn't get to try that out ourselves, but so much card draw and then card selection to make sure they never flood out. We only drew it 1 time, and we won that game really hard because it was also just a great draw in the end game. I think this card's just fantastic all around. All right, that is dead. I mean, I guess I gained 2. I'm at 3. Yeah, no, that's still dead. 2 and 2. It is, with only 2 losses to give, these drafts can end on a dime like that. We just got incited hard for the final battle. Looks like a pretty reasonable mirror match, honestly. Probably pretty equivalent decks in terms of power level. They just hit the exact same great rare that we had on turn 2, and we didn't draw it there. So how did the draft go overall? I mean, perfectly average at 2 and 2. It is a little bit harder to evaluate exactly how good each deck is in these pick 2 drafts because there's a lot more variance when you only have 2 losses to give. It's a lot easier for, you know, a really good deck to just get a little unlucky and go 0-2 than it is to lose 3 games in a row. You know, the more games you add, the more that the variance kind of evens out over time. So the shorter the draft is, the easier it is for like a really bad deck to 4-0 or a really good deck to 0-2. It's a lot easier for a bad deck to 4-0 than 7-0, and it's a lot easier for a good deck to 0-2 than 0-3, if that makes any sense. That said, I do think this deck was probably just a bit above average, not absolutely incredible. We are running some filler, like the Surveyor. I'm looking at everybody else and seeing if there's anything else I particularly disliked. We don't have like an absurd amount of filler or anything, and we did have the great Bomb Luis winning a lot of games for us. The Insight was spectacular as well. I've been winning a lot of games. Luis won. I think both of our 2 games, but Insight was a huge deal in that as well. We never got to play Carnage or Desecrex here. I mean, I think this deck was perfectly reasonable. The curve's not terrible. 6/2s. It's maybe a little high on 3-drops, but other than that, solid curve. Shocker was great. Luis was great. It's got decent rares in here, particularly Luis and the Insight were awesome. We didn't really get to see how good this card is. I don't think I've ever cast this still, and I've run it in like 2 of our decks. Yeah, again, it's hard to say off of just only 4 games of experience with the deck, but I think it's a solid one. I think it's probably slightly above average, maybe like 3 and 2 on average. Slightly unlucky here today. Anything that we can learn for the pre-release starting today? Well, Shocker's kind of a banger. I do recommend that for sure. These rares are fantastic. A lot of these rares look really good up front, so it's really easy to say, like, this is great and this is great. These are awesome cards to play if you open them at the pre-release, but highly recommend this enchantment. Even if you don't have a massive amount of mayhem, we saw how good this was just when you get in a top deck war in the late game. That was the one game that we won with it. But when you do have a lot of mayhem, like this deck has a decent amount, and as we got to see out of our opponent's deck, this thing's insane. You can just lead with it on turn 2, and it turns into just full-on draw a card period half the time. Potentially even better than that. It's like draw a card and one of your cards costs 2 less to cast than normal, or draw a card and one of your cards costs 1 less to cast than normal. This card's awesome. It doesn't look super absurd up front. It's just a little card selection rummaging sort of card, but this was great. So this is a card that I think might be a little bit deceptive, where it doesn't look like anything particularly great, but it actually plays quite well. Any commons and uncommons that played way better or way worse than we expected? Not really. Bunch of average, decent commons here, good removal. All of that was pretty self-explanatory, so that'll do this draft. It'll be 4-0 into 2-2 now this time around. But that is going to end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons and YouTube members for their support, as well as you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it and you're interested in seeing some more, you can always like, comment, subscribe to tell the YouTube algorithm, send some more to recommended feed. If you'd like to catch me live, check out the Twitch channel in the link in the description below. And if you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. But other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.